Perfect! Thank you for joining me for yet another day in the garage. I'm sure some of you can guess by the Technicolor gauges next to me what I'm doing, but I might as well explain it anyway. Doing a couple things. Most of it is just making things more livable inside the cabin in this Virginia summer. If you're not familiar with Virginia summers, at the office, I've got a coworker who said, "Oh, how bad can it be? I'm from Tucson." Yeah, you don't know, bro. I'm sure it's hotter wherever the hell you live. I don't care. It's hot here. I need air conditioning. The Mustang has none right now. Okay, it's worth mentioning right now that I filmed this in May of 2020 and it's now February the following year. And spoiler alert, everything I'm about to do worked and Felix now has air conditioning. Basically, as I laid out in an earlier video, sitting in the bed of a truck, which you can click on the link on the corner of the screen, I was busy during the summer, fall, and winter because even with all kinds of pandemic lockdowns, I still had a lot of work to do between my two jobs. So editing kind of fell by the wayside, but I'm down to just one job now, and more videos are coming your way, this one included. Enjoy. There's a whole bunch of UV dye right around the compressor. I suspect that's the case. If not, it's probably a hose. That's also doable. In the meantime, I'm going to learn how to replace a compressor and recharge the air conditioning system. We'll do the condenser as well, wherever it is there, I think. And we will also be upgrading the audio system. Yes, the benefit of hindsight has determined that to be a lie. Now that I'm in the edit, I realize that that would be just too long of a video. I know everyone wants to watch more, but that would be an hour, more than an hour, likely. So this is the last you'll hear mention of the sound system in Felix, and we're just going to push that to another video in the future. And I think you may be wondering, based on the wide shot, why I'm parked halfway out the garage. Well, there's a very good answer for that. When I went to the shop to get the air conditioning system emptied, because you got to do that for reasons, that's how they parked it. Just nosed it almost into the garage, and clearly that's how the professionals do it. And I am not one to argue today. If I had to guess, you're wondering, isn't this complicated? Aren't these very complicated things to do? Well, yes, they certainly can be. However, I am armed with a book and a book 2.0. I think I might be okay. That's not my, it's not my Cuda. I wish it was. That's a really sick car. Now, this being a 170,000 mile vehicle, it's dirty in here. So, without getting too ahead of myself, I think we will start with just kind of cleaning up in there, make it a little more pleasant to work. This is all just detailing stuff. You can probably skip through this part of the video. As a matter of fact, I will. And next time you see it, it'll probably look as dirty, but I'll get less shit on my hands. That was about 20 minutes, and things are already looking a little better, a little more factory. Maybe one day I'll get a full detail going on in here. One day. Not today. Not today. It is getting hot already, hence my change of wardrobe. I can only imagine how much more disgusting I'm going to look by the end of this. So let's start things off, make things a little easier on ourselves. Remove the air filter, the other part of the air intake. That'll make getting the accumulator, dryer, whatever the hell that's called, and the compressor out of there easier. Should also, well, a bit of a non-issue. I'll also need to remove the serpentine belt. I actually probably have plenty of space there. This radiator hose is pretty flexible. And had some lunch because I realized that it was lunchtime, and this is turning into kind of a small engine detailing video with vacuum and everything. Let's go ahead and find... Is that my tensioner pulley? Or is it my idler? It's one of those. I'll find the tensioner pulley, relieve the tension. We'll get that belt off. Belt looks good though. Belt looks fine. I'm not worried about that. But 4 bolts right there. I've disconnected the battery terminal. Did I say that already? Probably. No, I don't know. And we should be off to the races. Probably. I should open up the new part. Take a look at it. And that is the closest I will ever get to an unboxing video. Oh! Okay. This is going to be a little tough to see, but that little square hole there is falling apart from the breaker bar. I may have to get at this from underneath. On further review, it would seem that I was not putting it in the right place, and instead I will have to put a socket on the end of the damn thing. So, keeping it simple. Probably. No. Where'd my extension go? I just had one. There it is. Yeah, it's not easy. Okay. Let's go underneath. Whoa. Whatever that was. So what the hell did I need this breaker bar for? Jeez. Belt up there. Just trying to keep this as in place as possible. Somehow. Ha! So what I've stumbled onto here is a bit of a pro tip. Instead of finding the diagram for your serpentine belt, just find a way to hold it in place on the other accessories. So all you got to do later is just make it back around. So in this case, I'm free of the compressor. Everything's open. The intake is taken out, and it's kind of clean down there. Kind of, not super clean. Whatever. I'll pick my battles here. 4 bolts, 13 millimeter. I know that. Slight correction. There's 1 bolt on the back. I'm guessing it's a 10 millimeter. That's what holds our hoses. Ooh. So this hard line. What are you? Your radiator line. Why are you? Oh, that didn't feel good. Did not feel good at all. Maybe we can at least crack these open. Oh, lordy. I don't think these have moved since the factory. Pinchy. Yeah, electrical connection done. Oh, man. All right, let's see about that 10 back there. I'd love to know the torque rating on these. So, getting loose, this guy in the back, that is what connects our hoses. And I think the shoulders on this bolt are a little rounded off, because my flare nut wrench was not doing it. Oh, stay on the bolt. Stay on the bolt, man. I'm starting to smell some things. Ooh, what are you doing? Automotive yoga. Oh, are you loose? You're loose. Ah, you're loose. Yeah, it's rounded off a little bit. We're gonna have fun putting that back on. But now, and this should be easier, compressor bolts. They've already been loosened, so why would I let the ratchet slow me down? This is a part of the video I like to call how long can I keep going with the same glove? Okay. Okay. Let's... At least there was Loctite on these. That's a little worrying. But nothing we can't fix with some a wire brush and some new Loctite. I'm going to keep these in this order for now because that's kind of how I remember everything being oriented. I don't know if these bolts are in any way different, but it's good to just double check. Now that our old one's out, we can take a look, and definitely some age on there. I don't know what more to say about that. What was worrying, we could see a little bit of UV dye all around the compressor. That's why I suspect that's the cause of our lack of air conditioning. Apart from that, everything seems to line up. You always want to make sure, except this clutch design is a little different. I don't know, but let's charge forward anyway. We've got to add our oil, and that's gonna happen back here. This is pre-charged with 3 ounces. I need at least, what was it, 8. On to the business of swapping everything around. It doesn't look like there's much hardware to swap around. Usually there's a wire harness or something. I just had a single connector there. So let's get this protective cover off. Ooh, there's some pressure there. No idea what I'm gonna find here. Hopefully there's some O-rings in there. I might use that bolt. There are some O-rings. All right, that's a good sign. I like it. I think I should be able to just pop this in. Let's see, why not? Before I do just throw that thing back on there, I wanted to clean up the threads on those bolts. So they're a little rough. And well, we've got another tip for you. If your wire brush is brand new, it's gonna hurt your hands when you slip. So I've clamped mine to the table and I'm just gonna go back and forth like this. But we come to the oil. This came with 3 ounces, as I said, and I know I said 8 ounces earlier. I actually need 8.5. If it makes you feel better, just assume I'm working without a script. So I need to somehow figure out what is 5.5 parts of this 8 parts. So I need 5.5 ounces. So I've kind of worked my way. I'm basically giving this the halfway point to, like, this is conical shaped, so I'm kind of working with that. Basically set the halfway point to be the top. Again, I'm guesstimating. The bottom is about 3.5 inches, so I've placed a mark there at 1 3/4. From there, we'll find the next half and the next half, and that should give us 5.5. So looking here, I figured out my midpoint. Half of 8 ounces is 4, so that's roughly our 4-ounce mark. In between 4 and 8 is 6, and then in between those two is roughly 5. So I'm looking for somewhere around this mark. This is all under the assumption that I can see the liquid through the bottle. No idea if I can. Could not find a clean funnel, but I do have paint filters. Spillage, okay. Not the worst. This is not as viscous as a clear coat. Well, now that I've spilled about 1/2 ounce, I'm gonna aim for the 6 mark. All right, I've put the little shipping cap back on there because I don't want this oil to get out, and I don't want insects to get in because they'll do that. Looking in here, we've actually got what looks like, the term is either counter bore or counter sunk, I can't remember which, but it is on the front, which I can kind of correlate here. If we look on our compressor, these holes are a little bigger than those holes, and that's because the compressor came with what I decided to call, and because I don't know if they're really called that, guide pins. Now it's open. So I'm gonna jam these into those little holes for the bolts because that's where they are on the old compressor. We want to match things up, remember? And should be nothing to this. Let's see. Maybe. This might require some hammer action. Ooh. Notice I did not go with a real hammer, and in hindsight, that's because I didn't want to bend anything that I didn't have to. Smart. So this should just drop right in. Another note, we need thread locker on our bolts. They're metallic. And that's real simple. Once I open, this is brand new. I'm opening a lot of things today. Blue. Try not to get it everywhere. I am getting it everywhere though. Might have overdone it there. We also have the bolt for the hoses. Now I don't really want to use that again because it has been rounded off at the shoulders. However, this one holding the shipping cap on fits perfectly. So let's pop this guy off. We'll put some thread locker on him. He's all oily now, of course. Just a little, not the little deluge that I put on there. Whatever, I'm done with thread lock, I think. And this should just drop right in. So take that off. There we go. Ha! Bolt. No, that one. There is a torque spec to this, but I will need to look up later. You know, you can have a shop full of fancy tools and still the best way to thread a bolt is still gonna be your own damn fingers. Okay. That's just snugged. It's not torqued. I gotta remember to torque that. I don't know if I can get my torque wrench in there though. Torque by feel. Whoa. Maybe I should secure those other bolts first. Nope, you were in the bottom. I know it doesn't matter. Okay, let's get a torque wrench in here. And that out of there. It's all goopy now. I'm suddenly realizing that I don't know if my torque wrench goes down to 18 foot-pounds. But we'll see. By Jove, I think it does. Okay, that wasn't too terrifying. Okay, now because I'm the only one here, this is where things get a little interesting. You will see at the top of the frame, I've got a screwdriver. It's kind of holding my my belt in place on the compressor. So we're just gonna hopefully not get too much crap in my eye. And oh dear, don't impale me in the eye. Oh boy. All right, there we go, there we go, there we go. Now one problem. It slipped off the idler pulley. So here we go again. Oh boy, yep, there it goes, there it goes. That's one more check. Are you seated? Are you seated? Please tell me you're seated. Okay. Are we seated on everything else? Oh, yeah. See, you knew before I did. Man, I need to get a wireless mic. Anyway, now that the compressor is in, got everything kind of torqued down. I've already reconnected that electrical connection that goes into the compressor. The rest of these connections are for intake. We now have to do the, not the condenser, the dryer accumulator thing. Got the new one here in some packing pillows. It all looks, I don't know what it looks like. We've got some gaskets. I don't know. Let's see what we got. I believe it starts with this very complicated procedure of moving that electrical connection. Have I got one of those on here? I don't have one of those on here. Is this electrical? I don't know. If it's, that has to be. Now, I think, aha, okay, so this little guy needs to come off. Yeah. That's way better than the hose clamps we always deal with. Cool. I believe, is this a spring lock? Is this sealed? Is it? Is it? I don't know what it is. Yeah, I haven't the foggiest. Okay. It may be that I can't do that, which is odd. Plug that back in for now. I think we'll be okay if I just pull a vacuum on everything. It looks like everything's just crimped down. I don't see a spring lock release or... Come on. Yeah, that's the same deal back there. Okay. Get back on. Let's put these back on for now. I'm gonna go ahead and pull a vacuum, see if it holds, and do a little research in the meantime. So time to get the Technicolor tubes. And here they are. No, they're not called the Technicolor hoses. Don't Google that, you won't find what you're looking for. They do have a high side. That's actually the low pressure side. I screwed it up already. Here's the high pressure side. If you think of it like temperature, you can't go wrong. Also, they only fit in, well, no, you can't mix these up. And then our middle guy is gonna go on our vacuum pump. I have bought so many tools for this job. Then up here we've got our gauges with manifolds. There's also some valves on the actual hoses. So let's go ahead. I'm probably gonna get this wrong, but I'm gonna turn on the vacuum pump. And open my low side. Open my high side. Okay, and we are reading pretty much atmosphere on these. Go ahead and open them up. Whoa! You make a noise, don't you? So I guess I'm gonna let that go for half an hour, something like that. I'm gonna do some research in the meantime. Fast forward about 45 minutes, still going. but we are holding about -30 inches of mercury. No, it's PSI. Which one's mercury? I don't know. Anyway, holding good. Let's go ahead and close these guys off. And the real test is going to be whether this vacuum holds. It's this is do or die for me. I mean, not do or die. There's words I'm looking for. Yeah, we'll give it another half an hour, see if it holds. I hope so. Because after this, I don't know what to do. And that's after about an hour gone by. Everything was holding. I'm just drawing a little more vacuum, which gives me plenty of time to put back my intake parts. And starting with this guy, I think I pulled this one out last. But that's where we are. Yeah, I'll let this go a little longer. Have a beer. Yeah, it's after 5, you know. We come now to the point where everything looks a lot easier. No, it looks complicated. Let's be honest with ourselves here. It looks complicated, but really, all I'm going to be doing is starting the engine. We're going to plug in a refrigerant can, slowly open it up, and let it feed into the system. It's not complicated, but it looks, I don't know. I'm talking out my ass now. Y'all broke me. I can't sound professional anymore. Just starting the car. Just start the car, man. Without tripping over your mic cable. Well, speaking of not sounding professional, here I must apologize for the audio again. It turns out when you're a one-man band in video production at the same time as hosting the video, it can be hard to account for the sound of a running engine that's going to blow out anything else your microphone will pick up. Here's a sample of what I'm talking about. So let's grab our connector. Gonna plug in a can here. Oh, nope. So this video will end in voiceover, which I'm sure you're all looking forward to. The 3.8 liter V6 in Felix calls for 34 ounces of R134, and between these 3 cans I've got 36 ounces. After plugging in the first can, we'll need to purge out the air in the yellow line, which is as simple as venting the Schrader valve in the middle of the manifold. Then opening the low side, which lets fresh refrigerant into the system. If I'm remembering high school physics correctly, that is the Venturi principle effect, whatever. I wait a while and watch the flow through the sight glass, and eventually the can feels empty, and plug in the new one. You gotta open that valve slowly so the coolant doesn't liquefy. That's more damage you don't want to fix. Then a little tin can yoga, and halfway through can number 2, we see the compressor clutch cycles much less frequently than it did before. Can 2 is empty, in goes can 3, and let's just go for broke and just drain this one. And that's about it. Check the air from the vents for temperature, close off the valves, and put everything away. Never forget that automotive repair is meant to look just complicated enough for you to want an expert, but not so complicated that a mechanic can't fix it. At the end of the day, the best we can do is double check we emptied the cans. Make sure you like and subscribe because, that's what I'm supposed to say on YouTube.